Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, nuts, serfs, peasants, vassals, meat sacks, goat sacks. I'm a useful idiot. Welcome. And wow, let's go back to Syria again because it takes a while to cover all the people that are involved in Syria. And just as I brought up the fact that Israel has their own little war in Syria, I don't want to leave out Iran. Iran also has their little war in Syria. Of course, a bit different, of course, is that Iran is on there in Syria at the invitation of what can be argued as the legitimate government of Syria under Assad. And of course, that's a big difference between them and Israel's incursion in there, and of course, everybody else's incursion in there as well, other than Russia and Iran. And so, anyway, let's take a look at the presence of Iran in Syria and what their war is there. Another specific aspect of Iran's presence in Syria, of course, is that they're fighting ISIS and Al-Qaeda. So they have the same target as the Assad regime. They have the same target as Russia, and ostensibly the same target as the United States and a lot of the coalition members, including their arch nemesis, Saudi Arabia. But of course, it all gets very complicated when we look at Saudi Arabia supporting members of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, Turkey supporting members of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, Israel supporting members of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, United States supporting members of ISIS, Al-Qaeda, etc., etc. So, but this is becoming even more relevant because, of course, now that we have Russia involved in Syria, the connection with Iran becomes all the more crucial component of this. And point in fact, theoretically, there is an assault on Aleppo going to be taking place with Russian air support. And there's been estimates of 10,000 Iranian troops in Syria in 2013, and estimates that there are 15,000 troops in Syria right now from Iran. And those numbers sound about right, but let's remember that this includes a whole mixture of forces. It's the Shia militia that the Iranian forces are also using in Iraq, and it also includes a lot of Afghan, Pakistani legion, kind of a foreign legion made up of conscripts and mercenaries and foreigners. So that's getting to be a common practice amongst Western nations, but also Iran. And so, like I say, the numbers could be anywhere from 7,000 to 20,000 Iranians involved in Syria. And now, like I say, the interesting fact that it's getting coordinated with Russia. And we've had about 100 estimates of 121 in some articles and up to 531 casualties listed in other articles of Iranian forces in Syria. So that sounds about right too if you look at the ratios of 10 to 15,000 Iranians in Syria and upwards of 500 casualties, particularly if they're working in a lot of supportive roles the same way the Russians do, and then a lot of coalition members do as well, not necessarily everybody in direct combat. So no surprise there, all these modern forces are using similar tactics in the region. But we also have Iran operating in Iraq as well, and that's also at the invitation of the Iraqi government. So a different scenario there, and also we find that the U.S. has essentially been fairly accommodative and coordinating with Iranian efforts in Iraq, which also included airstrikes. But Iran also, of course, provides financial, media, humanitarian support to the Assad government and arms and equipment. So they're supportive in a lot of ways, maintaining the economy there and maintaining a lot of supply lines as well as forces. But just like everyone else, you know, Iranian special forces are in Syria operating all over. So it's just as amazing that we have all these different aircraft from all these nations operating. Of course, it's 95% U.S. and Russian planes and Syrian planes for the most part now. So coordinating it is probably not too difficult. But to have that many air forces in the air and not have any problems, and the same thing on the ground, we're going to have special forces from the United States and the UK and Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Russia and everybody else, Iran, bumping into each other on the ground. So that could be kind of awkward. But we also have enough of an Iranian presence in Syria that we've had 4 high-profile Iranian commanders killed in the field. Theoretically, a total of 18 Iranian officers killed in the last 3 years. So once again, these numbers all seem to match up. 500 casualties, 15, 20,000 troops, 18 commanders killed. These all seem to be realistic, and I tend to buy them. And then, like I mentioned, there's this new assault, and this will be interesting to see. A coordinated effort with Iranian troops, 1,500 Hezbollah as well, and supposedly 3,000 Iranian special forces around Homs, and this Aleppo offensive. And there's even an Iranian air base, temporary air base constructed, and lots of modern weaponry. So this is definitely Iranian military, and it'll be interesting to see them get a much higher profile. But as I mentioned in every video that I've done recently, those who are plugged into the alternative press, those who watch A Useful Idiot, and the like, none of this is a surprise. We've known Iran's been in Syria for a while. They continue to be in Syria, and they have their own war in Syria as well, because of course they're operating as proxies against their nemesis in the region as well, such as Turkey and Saudi Arabia and Israel and the United States. And regardless of what kind of relations might thaw between various of these countries and how the allegiances flex, in the bottom line, everybody's in there with their egos and will counter each other. And so Iran is just another player. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.